Damn, let me honest, I forgot I had a YouTube channel. But, one of my friends, like, even though it's finals weekend, she still, like, managed to pick up streaming again. And it made me realize I'm getting behind. Except I'm technically not behind. I've been doing work. I haven't posted in like 2 months because back in 2 months ago, it was midterm season. And then I worked on midterms for like a month. And then by the time midterms were over, well, guess what? It's final season now. Better get to work on your finals. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I'm still alive, let me be honest. I haven't like had a mental break in forever because during midterm season, I had like an essay every week. When I wasn't working on an essay for one class, I was working on it for another. And sorry if you can see my messy room. I check out the Kama cosplay. Actually, I was gonna have a video planned for October. There was gonna be a Halloween special. I was like, I don't know if you can see it behind me. I have check that out. So now I just have Sadako watching me sleep. Yeah, because back in October I finished the Song of Saya, Saya no Uta, the visual novel. I was going to talk about it. I guess I'm not anymore. So I guess this is just, first of all, it's an update of where I've been. I haven't forgotten about my 4 viewers, don't worry. Yeah, but I'm just gonna talk about like how my adventure, I guess, with religion has gone. I think I mentioned it earlier in a bit, but like I go to a Christian college, but I don't really believe in God that much, or rather, it doesn't seem right for me to be as Christian as everyone else. It seems like my brand of religion is different from everyone's, because like, well, I've been able to put in words now after finishing reading Demian, which, like, at the beginning of the school year, I scrambled to get that book done. First of all, I was walking through campus one day when I was like, I need to go to the library and I need to get this book immediately. And I went there and it took the entire like 3-hour break I had between classes and I still couldn't find it. I asked the librarian and everything. That wasn't an easy task to ask a stranger for help, but I had to. And she gave me like a little code to like look for it in the bookshelves or whatever. And I went through the bookshelves on all 3 floors of the library and I couldn't find it. So I just went to Barnes & Noble instead and I got a paperback. And I'm glad I did. It was an immaculate book. My entire school year this semester was guided by that book, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. So in Demian, I'd like it if you guys have read it before or will read it. Protagonist Emil Sinclair describes the world as being split in 2 between the world of light and the world of darkness. The world of light is basically all that is good, all that he is supposed to do as a kid and as a young adult. And the world of darkness is everything that's hidden from him, but still exists in the shadows. So as Sinclair grows up, he realizes that the world of light is kind of plain world. And the world of darkness is where like the substance is. And that was exactly what I was feeling too in terms of religion, because like I worshiping the God that rules over the entire world, not the entire world, but the entire world of good, makes me feel like I am forsaking all that is bad. Like, what if I don't want to be righteous? Because my dream is I want to make a good game company, I suppose. I want to accumulate money and riches, not just in heaven, but in the real world also. I've been living my whole life so far in my fake heaven world, my world of light, and that hasn't gotten me anywhere in terms of actual reality. Because reality has gifts that I can't get anywhere else, and I dream of those gifts. I dream of being connected with other people, or being able to spend money freely without worrying about budgeting to be able to provide for a family, for both my parents and my relatives, my siblings, maybe even my children. But it seemed that worshiping the God from the Bible wouldn't get me that kind of freedom. It seemed unchristian to have wishes of money and power. And Sinclair made that realization too, and that's what led him to take an interest in a pagan god named Abraxas, an ancient god that represented both sides of the spectrum, both the light and the darkness, the good and the bad, even the male and the female, etc. Two things that are on complete opposite sides, but somehow have been united in this one God. And that's what I believe God is, a unification of two polar opposites. So, in most paintings of Jesus or the Virgin Mary, they're portrayed in this kind of oval shape, which looks like the middle point of a Venn diagram. I've learned that that's called a mandorla, which is Italian for almond. And it basically, once again, it's like a Venn diagram. Jesus and the Virgin Mary are both God and man. Jesus is 100% man. He contains everything that a human is supposed to, but he's also the Son of God. And the mandorla is miraculous because it's paradoxically two sides can become one. It's a living metaphor, not a contradiction. And I, as an artist, am fascinated by that, especially as someone torn between two worlds, because it's very hard to put me in a bubble, I guess, and I made it that way on purpose. I would like to express myself as a full and complete being, not as a sort of stereotype or something like that, which it makes it very hard to put me in a group because I don't really belong with anyone else. Well, I have glasses, I like video games, I like reading, but I also like working out, which may be surprising for some. I like music, not just anime openings and video game soundtracks, but also rock music and even hip-hop. I like Kendrick Lamar. So I think as a human being, I'm not simple. And if you are small-minded, you may see me as simple, but it's impossible for me to really be put in that group. And I think it may be impossible for me to put others in those tiny groups also, but I myself, being small-minded, am not really sure, and I'd like it to be easy to be able to read people, to understand them, but I can't do that. Which, or I would say that in my first semester of college, I haven't made any friends, but really, in my game classes, which is my major, I am kind of put in the circle with the 5 other kids in that program in my little cohort or whatever, but I haven't really managed to click with any of them because they are those nerdy people who don't really have any ties or ambitions in the real world and instead hide in their own worlds of light. Which I, who wishes to branch out, am really different from them, who don't really seek to improve themselves. And I'd like to meet people again who want to improve themselves, but I haven't been able to, not since high school. In high school, I had great experiences. I had terrible experiences too with other people, but there was an event in high school when I was a junior that really made me realize that my dream, what I want all along, is to connect with another person, to accept them as a part of myself. Because really, that's the only way that I can connect with people, both positively and negatively, is if I realize that they are a piece of me as a person too, not just a separate identity. Which brings us back to the idea of the mandorla and the collision of two opposing polar forces. So when I was a junior, I used to get to school really early. I woke up at 6:15 because I had to drive 40 minutes from my house to my actual school. And I was always there before all my friends and before everyone else. So it was just me sitting there in the silence. And one morning I was sitting there in the silence. I think it was a pretty cold morning. It might have been winter or spring. I see a figure walking down the pathway from where I was sitting, kind of far away. And, it was a girl with long black hair, and I never heard any sound from her mouth. It was just the tapping of her white shoes. My throat's getting sore. I haven't talked this long in a while. Don't quit your YouTube channel, I guess. But yeah, this girl was rather beautiful, but I've never actually, even to this day, I haven't heard a single sound from her mouth. And behind her, she was wearing a Gucci sweater with the double G symbol logo on it. It was beige, and it flowed behind her like a cape or a robe of a princess or something. And sometimes in the morning, I would be sitting there alone, and I would see her walk by day after day. But I never knew what her name was. I never knew what grade she was in, or I never heard the sound of her voice. I never heard her talking to people. She just passed by some kind of ghost. And it turned out that I believe she was a senior or something, because once the next school semester started and I was a senior, she was gone and I never saw her again. So I never knew if she was real or not, if that makes any sense. As I said before, she could have been a ghost. She could have been a figment of my schizophrenic imagination. But I remember seeing a picture of myself when I was in a freshman during COVID or whatever, when we were all wearing masks. And I used to have long black hair too. I'm not sure if my hair is black, it might be brown. But when I saw that picture again of me wearing the mask covering my face and the black hair framing my head, I realized that I looked just like her. So maybe she could have been a piece of myself, something I was imagining, but something that was some kind of ideal that I had, because as I said before, she was extraordinarily beautiful. So just like Sinclair in the book, I called this woman Beatrice, because she is some kind of ideal, I guess. Some kind of piece of me that I had thrown away, maybe. Maybe my anima, a piece of my soul that is feminine. But me placing such ideals onto another person, it might just be the ideals I place onto myself flowing to another, because it's hard for me to judge myself and it's hard for me to judge other people. I'm not sure how others view me, but I'm so small-minded when it comes to other people too, so I don't really care. But for me to be attracted to someone, even without knowing their name, what their voice is like, anything about them, just how they look, and me placing these dreams, these ideals onto them, it might say a lot about me. But yeah, when it comes to other people, I simply just don't click that well. And I'm not sure whose fault that is. It could be mine, it could be others. Maybe I don't belong with other people, if that makes any sense. Maybe I don't belong where I am now. Or maybe I'm just not fit for it. Maybe the way I am built isn't tailored to the environments I'm in. But then I don't know what my home is like, or would be like then, where the perfect environment would be. I only really feel at peace when I'm listening to music or reading, and if I'm sitting in like a Barnes & Noble or a record store or something like that, that's the only place where I feel like, yeah, this is home. And like, I really wish I could go out somewhere. I'm getting tired of this room. I'm getting tired of my unmade bed and the communal bathroom down the hall that smells like piss. And I'd really like to just meet more people, because I only really feel excited when I'm with girls, let me be honest. Like, the ideal I placed upon her, upon Beatrice, really made me excited and hopeful that maybe I could see her the next day, the next morning. Maybe I could see her in a different time. Maybe I'll see her again. And that made me, and seeing beautiful women makes me want to accept them as human beings, as creatures identical to myself, not just as strangers. But meanwhile, when I talk to like boys, people in my classes that I don't really care about, it just feels like a clashing of two different forces instead of that molding together and the merge. Because like, I think most people, or a lot of people I've talked to, try to find as many opportunities as they can to push their like shadow, their inside onto you, whether that be in a positive or negative way. If they hate you, or if they are indifferent towards you, which most people are to me, I would say, they will like use their negativity that they have bottled up and put it upon you, and then they will sort of lash out against you when they get the opportunity, because there's no consequence for doing it. But at the same time, like, other people, other kids that like put you in a higher light, who see you as a role model, they will also put their shadows onto you, and the shadows of their positive sides this time, they will push it on you, and you're forced to hold that responsibility. And it makes them weaker to do that, and it hurts you too, because you're weighted down with the wants and the needs of others, which you may or may not really care for. And that's how it's been for me. And that's why, like, I just want to be on equal terms with someone. I want to accept someone for who they are, and I want them to accept me back. My only goal for like a romantic partner would be for like us to love each other unconditionally. I don't care about much else. I can work around it. But for us to like lash out, to place blame, to shove ideals onto another is harmful to the both of us. I want to accept another person again, in the way I did with Beatrice, but this time with a real girl, not just a ghost or someone I've never talked to, if that makes any sense. Well, I'm reaching like 20 minutes now, and at this point I'm going to start going in circles, so I'd really like to thank all of you for watching so far, and I hope you all stick around, even if I take another 2-month break, because really this is the only time when I can talk to myself, when I can talk out loud without being judged, and Like, there's a bunch of other topics I don't have any friends that like, and I'd say that this channel is my outlet to really express those desires without being judged. And if you stick around because you like those topics I'm discussing, then I really thank you, because yeah, it makes the world I live in, my world, a little bigger, to know that there are people willing to accept me who maybe I would be willing to accept too, just not in this small space around me. Well, that's about it. See ya.